Hey everyone, my name is Jose, sometimes known as Joe Engineer, and today I'm going to talk to you about air-cooled Porsche 911 factory toolkits. Thank you once again for joining me on another video. We're going to take a little break from the CIS coverage and go over a topic that I've been wanting to do for a while, and that is to give you guys a quick show and tell on the factory Porsche 911 toolkits that came with every car. And as you know, there was a time when all car manufacturers encouraged the owners to do their own maintenance, and the owner's manuals were full of all kinds of information for DIY procedures. You know, some quite extensive, and many of the higher end cars included very high quality toolkits such as these for the owners to be able to use on their when doing their maintenance. Porsche in particular used to include very extensive toolkits in all of their air-cooled cars, including the 356, the 912s, the 911s, the air-cooled ones of all generations, the 930, and even the 959. And we will be covering in particular, obviously the G-body generation of toolkits, and in particular the 911 SC toolkits. Now, as I mentioned before, this is strictly a show and tell of just to show you, some of the cool quality tools that were included in some of these kits. This is not a concours guide to a correct toolkit, so and this isn't going to include everything from A to Z, just kind of a general overview. So hopefully you enjoy it. So there are several evolutions of these factory toolkits, and by evolutions I mean that very slight changes from generation of toolkit to generation of toolkit. These evolutions included obviously the short wheelbase cars from 1964 to 68, the long wheelbase cars 69 to 73. There were even some 911T, E, and S, and Carrera RS versions of these for 73 to 74. The 930s had their own style of toolkit. The 74 to 77 Carreras, as well as the SC and 3.2 Carreras from that encompassed 1978 to 1989 for the remainder of the G-body. And there are so many little variations of these kits, but they generally had mostly the same tools, with very slight changes as the years went on. So I think looking at the contents of these toolkits should give you a very rough 80 to 90% overview of what was included in most of the kits of the G-body generation. And the information for this, the contents of this type of stuff is actually a little confusing, because the information on the internet is kind of incomplete, and even resources like the Porsche Pet are not very complete. Like, for example, I thought that I could piece together a complete toolkit by simply looking at the Porsche Pet for 1983 for my car, and going through and just pulling up all of the individual parts that are listed on here. But as I started going through this, I realized that half of the contents in here are literally called tool, screwdriver, and tool, extension rod, and just really vague descriptions like that. So the best I can do to really piece something together is find information online and look at the picture to try to get most of my contents correct in one of these kits. And My car unfortunately had a very undocumented and very neglected early history. So it didn't come with any records. It didn't have, neither of these toolkits is original to the car. I ended up purchasing this one shortly after I got the car at a swap meet, and it's an incomplete toolkit, but it does have a lot of good parts in it. And then eventually later I bought a second kit much later that had a few missing pieces that that this kit did not have. And my goal is to look for the correct information online for what is correct for my my factory toolkit for 1983, and borrow parts or combine parts from both of these and put them into one bag, so that I can then have a a correct kit for my own car. And I guess like we can start with one of these. If you notice, both of these both of the bags are roughly about the same design. They're a very heavy duty but soft synthetic leather or pleather that has stood the test of time. It's actually, considering how old these kits are, around 40 years old, they're in decent shape, no tears or anything in them. And you can tell by the sound that the contents of these kits is there's a lot of heavy tools in here of very high quality. I don't know which color is correct for my car, but I mean, I bought this one because it's black and my car's black, so it just sort of is my personal preference. But I'm gonna keep both, and we'll see what ends up being period correct as I find more information in the future. But I'll have these guys upside down, I think. Yeah, let's take a look at this first one. So yeah, they're just these tools just have a couple snaps, and it's got a flap here to prevent stuff from falling out. And these are some of the tools that are included in a G-body toolkit. As I mentioned before, this is incomplete, but let's go through the contents of this kit, and then we'll open up this guy over here. So first, we've got a nice 19mm lug wrench that fits the lug nuts for the wheels. And then you've got another shorter lug wrench that is looks like it's a 24mm. And this is for replacing your fan belt. So this goes onto the nut in the middle of the fan pulley, and you would put this in the center, and then you would use this wrench, which looks like kind of like a coilover adjustment wrench. You would insert this into a slot or a hole at the top of the fan pulley. Hold the fan fixed with your right hand, I guess, and then with your left hand you could crack it loose, take it off, replace your fan belt, and then once again hold this fixed in this position. Now switching hands with your left, and then with your right hand you would tighten it back down. So pretty cool. This one is actually not OE. This is an aftermarket one that I bought online, and it looks very close to the original one, which was included in this bag, but it does the job. And this is these two are a very important pair of tools to have, even if you don't have this complete toolkit. I mean, replacing your fan belt on the road is something that you should be capable of doing at any time, so it's very important to have these two and a spare fan belt at all times. So speaking of that, it also comes with this extremely old spare fan belt. I have no idea how old this is. I'm hoping that people in the comments that are more familiar with these details can could chime in with the exact age of this, of some of these pieces and some of the details that I may be overlooking or getting incorrect here. But this is a very, very old belt. The leather is, not leather, the rubber is a little bit dry. And I kind of keep it here just because it came with, again, with the bag. I have no idea how old it is. I do have another fresh spare belt that I keep in my trunk. So if I ever needed to change the belt on the side of the road, I would not use this one. I would use my fresher spare. So I'll just kind of put these off to the side as I talk about them. It came with this really cool little pair of pliers as well. Made in Germany. And the pliers had a little wire cutter on either side. They're pretty decent quality. The serrations on the jaws are nice and well formed, very aggressive. I actually don't know what this does. This is a hex key. I think it's a 9mm. I'm not sure what. Maybe someone in the comments could educate me on what exactly this is, but it's a 9mm hex wrench with a little rubber cup on one end, which leads me to believe that this goes over a maybe like a socket head cap screw, so that you can maybe crack it loose with this end and then spin it off, and then this maybe helps you retain the socket head screw in here as you're pulling it out from somewhere. Yeah, I've never had to use it yet, and the PET wasn't much help in explaining what exactly this does. So yeah, maybe someone in the comments could explain what exactly this tool was for. Also, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different sizes of screwdriver bits here. I couldn't tell you, actually I could tell you, the PET has only 2. Looks like there's a short one and a long one. Actually, no, there's 3. I see a short Phillips, a long Phillips, and a long flat. So 1, 2, ooh, I don't have the long flat. So I'm not sure about these. These came here, but I mean, who knows, they could be part of another kit. But that's what I've got. And actually, these are supposed to have the early screwdrivers in the kits from the Long Good cars, 1964 to 1973, have a little red translucent screwdriver handle, and these are supposed to have a yellow one. And that yellow one is hard to find. It gets lost, so it didn't come in this kit. But it's a little yellow screwdriver handle with a little metal insert so that you can switch out the different screwdriver tips. There are supposed to be more open-ended wrenches in here. Let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's supposed to be 5 wrenches in here, each obviously double-ended, and there's only 2 in here. In my particular kit, there is a 17 and a 19, and a 12 and a 13. All of these are pretty nice quality considering how old they are. And they say selected special steel on the cast letters in here, and these looks like these were made in West Germany, which tells you of the vintage of these parts. Another very important tool in the air-cooled 911 kits is the spark plug wrench. And I believe the early cars, I think most of them have a very similar spark plug wrench, such as this one. And this one, it's not your typical, I mean, it looks like a typical spark plug wrench from here up, but this one has not quite a U-joint, but kind of a flexible joint here with a spring on it that gives you just the right amount of articulation to get into the engine bay, into the spark plug hole, and still allows you to kind of bend this up out of the way to clear the sides of the engine bay and the tin. And instead of attaching a ratchet on here, you have a kind of a 12-point socket here, and you're supposed to put a wrench, a big hex wrench that goes in there. And in this kit, mine was missing, so I grabbed this one from another set of wrenches that I had, and it does the job. But I use this for every single spark plug removal and installation, and this is a great another essential tool to have. Even if you don't have this entire kit, you need to have these two, as well as these two, to take off your fan belt. There's also this tiny little double-ended socket. This is a 10mm and a 13mm on one side, on either side. Yep, that's what I got here. And it actually doesn't appear in this version of my PET, in the picture anyway. I couldn't tell you if it's supposed to be on an earlier or later version right now in this instant, but yeah, that's what we got here. Also, another vague part is a tow hook. Now, I believe in the G-body generation there are two styles of tow hook. There is this one which has an eyelet and this and a spring and this little kind of I guess they call it a bayonet. There's supposed to be a tag here that tells you how to use it, and I believe in the front and the rear of certain cars there's an access hole where you pop off a grommet, you insert this end, and there's kind of a metal, there's a steel tab with a slot in it so that you could hook it into the hole and pull it out, and now this hook is secured, and then now you can tow the vehicle onto a flatbed trailer or a tow truck. And there's another version of this hook that is only about that long, still has the eyelet, and has just a shaft here that is threaded so that you can screw it into a hole that has a female threaded receiver on the front and rear bumpers, so that you can tow the vehicle onto a tow truck. Yeah, so there are, as I mentioned before, there are a bunch of wrenches missing. The yellow screwdriver handle is missing. I'm not quite sure if this particular double-ended socket is supposed to be here, but it is. And that's all that came with this toolkit. Now, because I wanted to create a complete kit, you know, I found this kit, I think, at a swap meet, and it was pretty reasonably priced at the time. Now original kits are kind of ridiculous. I want to say an original complete G-body kit, toolkit is approaching maybe like, man, I don't know, maybe like $700-800 or something online on the various classified ads that are like on Pelican Parts or websites like that. But you know, I wanted to complete the kit, so I went ahead and bought this second toolkit, and let's take a look at the contents of this guy. As you can see, this one has a couple of other gems that this first kit that I bought does not have. This one has the famous yellow screwdriver handle. And this is the same little guy. This one has a short Phillips, long Phillips, and long flat screwdriver tips, and the yellow screwdriver handle. So that's correct per the illustration in the PET. And I believe these guys should still assemble together on these other different ones. Yep, and they do. They work really nicely. So I have complete screwdrivers here. I have another one of these, and this is the OE one. This one is not. You can buy these, I think, on Pelican Parts. I have no idea how much they cost, but I'll show you the difference between the two. So they are about the same shape. They both have the pin on the end, but the original one is quite a bit thicker than this aftermarket one. And then this aftermarket one just looks like a laser cut or water jet piece of flat steel plate, whereas this one has softer, rounder edges. So after it was cut, regardless of whatever method they used to cut it, they went ahead and rounded the edges so that it's a little bit easier on your hands, like a good quality wrench from Snap-on, for example. So now I have the original fan pulley wrench. Here's another belt, another very, very old belt. Although this is an old Continental one, and it's of the toothed style. I've got way more wrenches here, so kind of happy to complete the collection now. We've got, let's look at all the various sizes that we have here. We've got 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, and 19. So we've got the full set here now. So this is very, very cool. I'm glad I completed this full set of wrenches now. Got an extra set of pliers in here. These are quite nice, just like the other ones. Actually, these look like they're in better condition. They have slightly less rust. Got another one of these thingamajigs. Oh wow, this one looks to be a little bit mildly magnetic, but yeah, another one of these guys. Someone please tell me in the comments what the purposes of this. Junk, bolt, and nut. I have no idea why this is here. Another spark plug removal socket with the correctly finished hex wrench that goes in there. So yeah, got the full set there. What else do we have? What is this? This is a little shaft of some sort. I have no idea what this is for, but I think I've seen this on some of the other toolkits. I'll have to research it a little bit further. Maybe once I find out, I'll put it in the comments. It's a little, don't know, it's a tube of sorts. Maybe it doesn't go in here. Here's another gem that is commonly missing from these kits. This is a sunroof, an emergency sunroof opener tool. And I believe this is for when you don't have power or functionality to your sunroof on sunroof equipped cars. You can open up the zipper in the headliner to expose the electric motor and the little drive gearbox in there that opens and closes the cables, and then you can screw this. You can screw this into a spot there that then allows you to crank this crank the sunroof manually and get your sunroof to open or close properly. So yeah, that's the contents of this tool bag. And this one I don't remember numbers off the top of my head, but I do remember that this one cost me a lot more than this one, simply because I bought this one at an earlier date when prices weren't as inflated for Porsche things. But I'm glad that I now have essentially the entire toolkit, so I should be able to take some of these rustier tools and put them in a bucket of evaporust to give them a very sympathetic rust removal while still maintaining the original plating and finish. Hopefully they'll be able to clean up as nicely as you know, like something like these, like the tools in this other kit. And if I grab the PET and just very vaguely go through the pictures, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 open-ended wrenches. I've got the wheel lug wrench. We've got the pliers, this large hex key with the rubber nub on it. We've got the screwdrivers, 1, 2, and 3. We've got the smaller fan pulley wrenches. We've got the tow hook. We've got the spark plug wrench. Got a belt, and actually this little thing here is a pack of fuses. I don't know if you can see it through the camera or not, but it's a little pack of the old school bullet style fuses, the OE ones. However, on my car, if you recall, I replaced my entire fuse panel with a more modern one with the mini blade fuses, and I have a separate bag that I keep in the trunk that has spare fuses of that style. So this won't make it in my recreation tool bag. But yeah, I mean, according to the most official source of information that I have, the Porsche PET, these will make an entire toolkit for my car. So I'm pretty happy with what I've got here, and I'll clean it up, put it in one tool bag, and maybe, you know, keep the rest as spares to keep at the house or something. Yeah, so as I had mentioned before, I don't know which one of these is correct for my year. I've seen conflicting information from different people online, but nothing official that tells you if colors correspond to certain years or that sort of a thing. And actually, to be honest with you, it's probably kind of a crapshoot because, as you know, Porsche was a very, very small automaker at this time. And, you know, as the new model years progressed, if they still had old parts on the shelf, they had no problem putting them on the car just to get the car out the door. If you recall, on this car, the sunroof is a 74 to 77 style sunroof, but this car is an 83. And, you know, as far as I know, that's how it came from the factory. So yeah, pretty cool tools in here. I mean, overall, these are all very high quality tools that can be used on a daily basis. You know, it's really cool that they're of such high quality, and it's kind of a shame that you don't have that type of tools in your car, in modern cars, other than maybe, you know, something to change a tire or something to tow your car to the dealership to allow them to do the maintenance for you. Now, if you have a G-body and you are trying to find if you have a G-body or an earlier car, the long hoods, and you want to get yourself a toolkit for your car if it's missing, you can go through, you know, all of the time and effort to piece together an original one, and unfortunately pay quite a lot of money nowadays to put one together, or to buy one that someone has already put together for you in a factory original one. Or nowadays you can also go to Porsche Classic, and Porsche Classic is reissuing a lot of the old tools and parts for these cars. So a lot of stuff that was available that became discontinued for a while is now available again. Like, for example, you can buy brand new Fuchs, brand new old style Fuchs for your car. And you can also buy brand new old style factory toolkits for, I believe, the early cars, the long hoods, 73 and earlier. And there is also a G-body style toolkit that you can buy. And I believe they're actually quite reasonable. They are, I think, between 500 and 600 bucks at the time of this recording, which is in spring 2023. So yeah, I kind of, if I didn't have these, I would probably just spring for one of those, because it comes from Porsche anyway, and they're genuine Porsche tools. So that's another option worth considering. But if you drive your car, if you go on canyon runs and you know, drive it any far away from home, I definitely would try to at some point put together some kind of a toolkit, whether it's your own collection of tools from your own toolbox that resemble these, or you know, the most essential ones from this kit, or get one of the Porsche Classic kits so that you do have tools in your car in case you need to pull over to the side of the road and do some quick maintenance. But yeah, that's about it. Thank you so much for following me on another quick video. I love sharing you know, a lot of the work that I do on this car with you guys. I hope you guys appreciate me going through stuff in detail, such as, you know, some of the subcomponents that are comprised in the toolkits, and you know, some of the other stuff. You know, thank you very much for watching and for your ongoing support. Please like and subscribe, and share with any other Porsche enthusiasts that you think might appreciate this. Thank you very much. Take care. Goodbye.